guys, welcome back to our channel. Welcome to all of our regular subscribers, and if you are new, welcome. If it's your first video, we're glad you're here. And if you haven't subscribed and you're watching this video, please don't forget to subscribe. We'd love to have you as part of our family. This week we are going to talk about our shakedown, the first day anyway, of our shakedown trip in the RV.
Now you guys know we don't really do anything small, so our shakedown trip was just about 2 weeks and all the way out to Texas and back.
From California, where we live.
Yeah.
So we went through 3 states, all the way there and all the way back. Today we're just going to talk about the first day of the shakedown trip. Now mind you, Jonathan has taken the RV out and spent the night in it a couple times for work, but this was my first trip in the RV. So we pack up the RV, we get it ready to go. We're not done with the renovation. We're about 2/3 done, but it's perfect. You know, it's perfect for what we're doing because we needed to go on this trip. So no big deal, right? We pack it up, we go get gas. Then we realized, I realized I forgot something. Now I don't remember what it was. So then we were like 2 blocks from the house. We turned around and came back and picked up whatever that was. Then we get on the road. And now as we're driving on the road, now mind you, like I said, Jonathan has driven the RV without me. So as we're driving, I'm like, what's that noise? What's that noise? Why is that, you know, rattling? Why is that? And so he would say, oh, that's, you know, this, that's that. And then I'd get up and sometimes I could fix the noise and make it go away, and other times I couldn't because they're mostly things like the window or the vent hood, that not the one we put in, but the one that was in it when we bought the RV. It doesn't have a fan, it's just the vent hood. Things like that. So as we're driving down the road, all of a sudden we start hearing this loud thumping noise, and it was very, very windy where as we were trying to leave. And I said, what is that? And he's like, I don't know. I think it might be the vent hood still. So I get up and I pull on the vent hood. It's not moving. You know, so we're trying to figure out, like, what is that noise? Then we hear a very loud thump and a swoosh.
That was, it was a little concerning, and it was not something I'd ever heard before. Now mind you, we were driving in an area that I had some fairly extreme crosswinds. I mean, I at one point looked over at Lynn and I said, hey, look at the steering wheel. And if the steering wheel is here, I was holding it here just to stay tracking straight. It was pretty bad. I mean, we were getting blown around, and I'd known that it was going to be that windy, and I've driven in wind like that before. When I drove the motorhome back from Northern California the first time, I drove through some spots that were pretty windy. This was worse. So we had some major side winds, and I was even looking at the trucks up ahead, and they were even having trouble tracking the road. So
Jonathan decides, okay, well, I don't know what that sound was, so let's get off the highway. And luckily we were right at an exit, so he gets off the highway and pulls into a parking lot, and he gets out and gets the ladder, looks all around the RV, doesn't see anything. We look all around inside, don't see anything. So he gets the ladder out and looks at the roof.
Well, there was definitely something missing from the roof. One of the solar panels was gone.
Off the front.
Yeah, the front of, so the way I arrange the solar panels, you guys see kind of in our intro, is there's 2 solar panels on the passenger side, 2 solar panels on the driver's side. And then the big solar panel in the back. Well, the one driver's side solar panel in the front just came right off. The brackets on the outside of the coach were still there. The bracket on the inside on the front was still there, and the bracket on the back was ripped out. However, once we stopped about, I'd say, a mile up the road, once I got off the highway and everything, the bracket was still sitting on the roof. It was just ripped out. All the hardware and everything was still there. So what we can assume is
well, real quick, all of those brackets, the bracket, especially the one he brought into the RV afterwards, none of the bolts are broken.
No.
The bolts look perfect. The nuts and bolts were still there. Everything was still there. It looked clean.
So all I can think of is that the wind just caught the the panel somehow just perfectly and literally ripped the panel right off the roof. And how it didn't happen with the other ones, I mean, we were lucky. After I take a look around the roof and stuff like that, and Lynn tells me to call the Highway Patrol, at first I was kind of like, do we call? Do we not call? I mean, I don't know. And she says, well, what if we hurt someone? All right, yeah, you're right. We should call. So I call, kind of give them an idea where we're at. And it now, probably after I got on the roof and everything, like 10, 15 minutes had gone by. So I call the Highway Patrol. Hey, this is kind of where we heard it. This is where we are. They said, well, we don't think anybody got hurt because we haven't gotten any reports of anything. We don't even have reports of anything on the highway. And usually we get reports pretty quick about stuff like that, especially a solar panel, something large like that on the highway. We'd get a report pretty quick. She said, do you want us to call you if we find the panel or anything? And I said, you can, but I mean, I'm pretty sure if it got ripped off the roof and ended up, in a ditch somewhere, it's probably destroyed. So she took my number.
She took all of our info.
Yeah.
The dispatcher took all of our info and said thank you for calling.
Yeah.
And we were just saying, we just wanted to make sure that if it caused an accident behind us that we didn't know about, or it hit somebody else, or just any kind of problem, we wanted to own up and say like, hey, that was our solar panel, and we wanted to be responsible if something had happened.
And I do remember like after the fact looking behind me, and I do know that there was a truck behind me, like a big semi truck, and he never swerved or anything, and he had been behind me for a while, because I try to pay attention about who's behind me, especially like trucks and stuff like that, in case they need a pass or something. So he didn't even swerve. So all I can think of is the panel with the wind. We got a big gust of wind. It just ripped right off and went right off, because I was in the slow lane, all the way to the right, and all I can think of is poof, right off into the side of the desert.
And we were on the road for about sorry, there are kids that just suddenly decided to play out here, of course. We were on the road trip for over 2 weeks, and Highway Patrol never called us back to say anything. So luckily, great.
And we never lost any other panels. And I was like religiously checking the panels, like, every couple days. At first it was every stop, because I wanted to make sure, and I was tugging on everything and whatnot, but never found anything. Nothing else ever happened. So
we continued on the road trip, and we drove the first day. I think we drove about 8 hours the first day, because we had a deadline to when we could get to had to get to Texas, and so we drove about 8 hours the first day, and we learned a lot about the RV the first day. As far as, nothing fell down. The big thing, everyone, as we're doing this DIY renovation, everyone's been telling us, commenting and coming at us in the comments saying, oh, you shouldn't put all this and that up. All that's going to fall down. You're being stupid. That's just pointless. And nothing fell down. The one thing that did fall down, which we're replacing now inside the RV as we were driving, is we had gotten these little spice jars that are magnetic, and they they're really small, because our RV is only 30 feet, so they're and our kitchen's tiny, so they're really small little spice containers that are magnetic on the top. And I'm sure you guys have seen those kinds of things before, but these were little glass jars, not the tins that most people get. And what was happening is we had some that had spices in them, we had some that were empty. The empty ones, as we were driving down the road, all of a sudden one would just fly off. And
sorry, a cat just ran by randomly.
We were like, what was that noise? And it took us a while, and then like maybe a half hour, 45 minutes later, you'd hear like another one,
bling, 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 bling,
and then it would fall in the sink, and so then it would make this noise, and we're like, what the heck is that noise? It took by the time like the third one fell, then we realized what it was. The empty spice jars, as we were driving down the road, would unscrew themselves, because the magnet part would stay on the board, but the glass part would unscrew itself and pop off of the spice, the little magnet board. So what the heck? So we are, I already ordered replacements for that, because I didn't want that to continue. It never happened with any of the full ones. It was just the empty ones. So, and literally they were unscrewing themselves and then like popping, not just falling off, like popping off. So that was kind of funny. And then those of you that are going to ask about the dogs, Flash and Pixel have been to 28 states, I think, with us on road trips. They're pretty accustomed to being in a car or a vehicle. They were a little freaked out by the RV, but they settled in pretty quick. And then Scout's never been on like a long, he's been in the car, but he's never been on a long trip. So the first day he threw up everywhere. So we learned right quick on the road trip not to give them breakfast before we drive, just for him. So we had to clean that up. And then after that, he decided his place to be during a road trip is on my lap the entire time. So that's kind of, it's cute, but it gets uncomfortable. So he's adorable, but it gets uncomfortable to have a dog sitting on your lap. And then halfway through the day, he learned how to open the window. He learned if he put his paw in a certain spot, he could open the window. So then we were trying to get him not to open the window.
And our motorhome doesn't have like window locks. I can't lock out so that he can't open the window.
So so the first day we got to Arizona was the first day. And it was interesting shakedown trip. We had a lot of fun. We drove way too long the first day, we realized, but we didn't have a choice on this trip. So
yeah, mostly my fault because I was just ready to get to Texas. I had a timeline, and I think we probably should have left a day earlier. But I planned for 8 to 9 hour driving days, stuff like that.
Which is what we're used to.
Right.
In a car. We've taken a lot of road trips in a car, and we've driven 10, 12-hour days and with no issue, like no stress, it's comfortable the whole time. But the RV, we learned, is completely different. And there's no way that either one of us would want to be in the RV driving for 8 or 10 hours. The things that people were coming at us in the comments about and saying that weren't going to work, we had no problems with. Things that we expected that other RVers use, like the spice rack and different things like that, solar panel, those ended up being a problem, and not the things that everyone else said would be a problem. So that was kind of interesting on the first day. So overall, our shakedown first day was interesting. We learned a lot about the RV itself. And other than the solar panel, there by the grace of God didn't hurt anybody. We didn't have any major issues. It was just, we learned, like put this away, don't hang, the spice racks or the spice jars, we learned, okay, that's not gonna work. The dogs were good. Overall, it was a good first day. I would call it a 5 out of 10. Just because the solar panel is kind of a big deal. Yeah. But honestly, neither one of us was upset about it. We kind of laughed. But once we knew we didn't hurt anybody, and once we knew that we didn't cause a wreck or anything, then we laughed about it. It was like, are you sure you tightened that down? Because the bolts are completely clean, nothing's broken. Yeah. He even called his cousin who helped him install the panels and said, hey, Carlos, are you sure? Like, did we tighten these down? And Carlos, yeah, dude, I tightened them down. Like, I don't get it. And, so what can you do? You just have to laugh at it. Yeah. It's, we didn't hurt anybody. We didn't get hurt. It didn't damage the RV. It is what it is. We have to buy a new solar panel, and you learn a lesson, I guess, right? I mean, yeah, that's it. So that's our first day of our shakedown trip. Next week, we'll go into more of the shakedown trip. Thank you guys for being here. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider subscribing. And we are really glad that you're here. We're thankful for each and every one of you, especially in this new year. Thank you for being with us and sharing this journey. This is the first week. We will have 2 videos. It was supposed to be last week, but we didn't account on the road for the time frames of being able to upload videos and things on YouTube with the weird Wi-Fi and the what is that about No Kid September? Oh wait, it's January. So
it's February actually.
Oh no, it's January when we're filming this. We will have 2 videos for the first time this week. We will our second day of videos will be Mondays. Will always be Motorhome Mondays still, and then Fridays we are going to be releasing videos on Fridays, and they will be about various different things, motorhome and RV related usually, but not about our DIY or mechanics or things like that. So look forward to that new video this week, and those videos will also include RV park reviews. So be sure to click that bell if you haven't, so you know when we upload a new video, especially because we're going to be adding videos. Thank you guys so much for being here. We hope you have a great week.
That's all you got?
Yeah, that's all I got.
All right, remember, stay positive and test negative.
Take care of each other and stay safe. Bye.
Bye.